So,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, and I was kind of curious if we would start looking toward Blanchard and Tuttle and those folks, but because they're kind of starting to be in our neighborhood.
Yeah, they're like
Newcastle.
Biggest 4As.
Yeah, and Newcastle's growing.
Newcastle just went to 4A, didn't they?
Yeah. Last year, year before last, maybe. But they're growing like crazy. I mean, it's just times they are changing. Hey, Cody, how are we coming on a digital clock for here?
Yeah.
Who's paying for it, right?
Yeah.
What budget's it coming out of?
I got talked to him looking for me last week. I don't know what she's doing anymore.
Okay.
It's like at night.
Huh?
He said it's not here tonight.
I decided that we're going to get a digital clock because I'm tired of looking at this and looking at that and having
That
to.
was remote, so you could change the speed it up.
Don't live behind anyone that's got a show like this or something.
You gonna wait for that one, or do you?
I think we can go ahead and go.
Okay. Well, welcome to the Guthrie Public Schools Board of Education regular monthly meeting on Monday, November 14th, 2022. Roll call, please.
Davis. Here. Smedley. Here. Gerard.
Here.
Schroeder.
Here.
Pearson.
Here.
Flag.
Here.
Salee.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So as we begin this meeting, let us pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 6, presentation of employees and student of the month recognition.
Mr. Ogle?
Well, I braved cold weather this morning and went and started at Cotterell with our student of the month, and then went out and bought Mr. Paul out on the plains. And so, employee and student of the month winners for this month. Student of the month was Cotterell fourth grader Miguel Diaz, and Miguel was nominated by Miss Taylor. Blake Whimsy presented Miguel with a $50 Walmart gift card.
Wow.
Our support employee of the month was Child Nutrition, the warehouse manager, Tony King. Ms. Bickle, Ms. Fryer nominated Tony for this award. And then our certified employee of the month for Charter Oak librarian, Jeannie Myers. And Jeannie did a good job, as most of you guys know. Ms. Downs was out for a couple weeks, and so Ms. Myers stepped in so the kids would have a friendly face, and so very appreciative, and so very deserving of this award. So anyway, those were our students and employees of the month.
Good, thank you. Agenda item 7A, comments to the board by citizens registered to speak to the board.
We have none.
Any comments to the board by board members? Okay. Agenda item 8, superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to congratulate our GHS cross-country teams. The boys team placed 9th at the state meet. While girls and the boys team struggled with some injuries and illness and really gutted it out. It was and then the girls they ran their hearts out and finished third. Great job by them. I got to say, one of the most touching moments of the entire meet was watching Cheryl Tarter as she presented our teams with their awards. That was something that was put together by the staff of the OSSAA and also by the people that were helping to run off the meet. And those of you know that what Clay meant, her late husband, to cross country in this community, and it was something that I think was really beneficial to Cheryl and helpful in her path of healing. So great job by the cross-country program. Our football team won the first playoff game against Elgin last week by score 17-0. They're going to advance to the next round, and they're going to take a little short trip up to the northeast part of the state to Grove. Game scheduled for 7 p.m. And I may be leaving Thursday morning. I'm not sure. Last Friday was Veterans Day, and the cold weather forced the ceremonies indoor at the high school. And we've done that several times, and it worked out very well. We had it in the North Gym. We had a lot of veteran participation, but the key element when we have that ceremony, whether it's inside or outside, is our student participation. We have our junior ROTC, we have our band, we have our choir. We roll out the red carpet for our veterans, and we're glad that we were able to do that last Friday indoors and have everybody comfortable with the weather that we were dealing with. And today, we continued our work on the design phase of Cotterell. We had a meeting with a lot of our staff and the engineers and the architects about mechanical systems and technology items for that building. And those meetings are ongoing as we plan to begin construction. And then finally, it's no secret, last Tuesday was a dark day in our community. It's hard to fathom the loss of 4 men under the age of 40 in less than a 10-hour period in a community. And we've put our protocols in place to assist not only the families of the students affected, but also answer questions their classmates may have about the situation. And we'll continue to be there for their families and assist in any way needed. And hats off to our administrators that had kids in your building that were affected by this, and just another example of how we always try to place kids first in good days and in days that are dark. And so thoughts and prayers for the families. And that's my report.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Simpson. Agenda item 9, presentation of Guthrie Public Schools ACT scores for the graduating class of 2022 by Mr. Doug Ogle, the Assistant Superintendent.
In front of you, you should have a packet that I put together so you guys can follow the part sometimes to read on the screen. We're going to go with our latest data from our ACT scores. So our math ACT score, blue is the high school, and then the red is the state. And so, as you can see, the high school score was 17, and the state average was 17.3. Science ACT score, Guthrie High School 17.8, and the state average was 18.2. The English ACT, high school was 16.6, state average was 17. The reading ACT score, Guthrie High School was 18.2, and the state average was 18.6. And then our composite overall, we were 17.5, where the state average was 17.9. So a little below state average, just by a few tenths on each category. Disappointed a little bit because we had made great strides at being at the state average or above the last few years. Dipped a little bit this year, but We're going to have some items that we're going to talk about a little bit about helping with the junior ACT later on in the agenda. We'll have a little bit of chance to kind of talk about some of the things we want to do with some ACT prep. And so Mr. LeGrand and I will talk a little bit more at that time. But is there any questions about any of the ACT in the composite score?
Good, thank you. Okay, agenda item 10 is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
With the correction in item A to reflect the correct last name on flag is to sleep.
Gail, do you accept that amendment?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yes. Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Silly.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 11 is the business agenda. So 11A, receive bids for the purchase of $2,200,000 general obligation building bonds, Series 2022B of the district, and vote to award said bonds to the lowest bidder, complying with the notice of sale and instruction to bidders.
We have Jerica Dawson from Municipal Finance here with us tonight. And Jerica, you can tell John that we got you moved up on the agenda.
So I get to present the bids to you all tonight. I believe you have in front of you. We have 4 bidders on this $2.2 million general obligation building bond, Series 2022B. One thing that I want to point out is, as we say, this gets awarded to the lowest bidder complying with the notice of sale and instructions to bidders. And one reason I want to point that out is we had 2 bids that looked very, very close. And the instructions to bidders in the notice of sale is that it's awarded on that true interest cost. So there is one that is lower on true interest cost, so it's awarded to the low bidder for true interest cost, and that's Stonex Financial. The rate was 3.675 and 2 decimal points after that. It's higher than what we've been seeing in recent sales, but luckily there was a dip in rates last week, so it's a little lower than it might have been if this would have been Monday of last week. So that's the silver lining, I suppose, for the timing on this sale, and it's kind of in line with what rates are right now for a 10-year home. So, any questions I can answer about this one?
I think we're encouraged that, I was afraid it might be higher, given the climate. Remember, board members, that when we got our net assessed valuation in, we realized that we had some wiggle room to go ahead and get this on the books with the thought that while it's a smaller amount, getting this helps us to begin construction of Cotterell and have capital on hand in order to have the money to get moving on that project, and also try to avoid potential rising interest with future sales.
So explain that one more time. So the true interest cost versus, I guess, the net interest cost?
True interest cost will take into account the time value of money. So, there's a calculation behind it, but that's the short answer is the net interest cost is the net amount paid, but the true interest cost takes into account what years that gets paid over.
Yeah, okay.
Which is also tied to the premium, right?
Yes, it is also tied to the premium. That is taken into consideration. And that will also help with the one thing I should have brought up too. When we look at, what came in with the premium, the interest rate that we received on this, we're right at the target for where we want to be with mill levy as well. The spreadsheet right now is saying 16.99. That's right where you were projecting it on.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we accept the issuance of general obligation bonds in the sum of, that we accept the purchase of the 2.2 general obligation building bond series 2022B of the district and vote to award said bonds to the lowest bidder, complying with the notice of sale and instruction to bidders.
Second.
Do we need to name StoneX Financial, or is that?
Wouldn't hurt.
Motion. Yeah.
StoneX Financial. Okay.
Yeah, that clears up any.
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve StoneX Financial, yes, the purchase, the 2.2 general obligation building bonds.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any board discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 11B, consider and vote on a resolution providing for the issuance of general obligation bonds in the sum of $2,200,000 by Independent School District Number 1, Logan County, Oklahoma, authorized at an election called and held for such purpose, prescribing form of bonds, designating bonds as general obligation building bonds, Series 2022B, providing for the registration thereof, approving the form of a continuing disclosure certificate, providing for the levy of an annual tax for the payment of principal of and interest on the same, and fixing other details of the issue.
So this is an item about to formalize what you just approved, and the point I made earlier, we're keeping it at the no levy target. This is kind of a straightforward go through our on sale. And specific questions for this gentleman.
Okay.
Mr. President, I move that we approve a resolution providing for the issuance of general obligation bonds in the sum of $2.2 million by Independent School District Number 1, Logan County, Oklahoma.
Second.
Good, there's a motion and a second. Any board discussion? Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 11C, recommendation, consideration, action to adopt calendar of regularly scheduled school board meetings for 2023.
This is always required that we do this typically at the November meeting. I believe it's got to be at the county clerk's office sometime early December. Every year they're laid out a little bit differently, but this one is fairly standard. We've got the March where we move it up a week due to spring break. And then with July, the 4th of July is always one that we have to watch as well, but that one worked out fine this year. We'll probably have to move some committee meetings around for that one and also for the March board meeting, but everything else flowed pretty smooth on putting this on a calendar. So recommend approval.
Mr. President, I make a motion we adopt the calendar of regularly scheduled school board meetings for 2023.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any board discussion? Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 11D, recommendation, consideration, and action upon Cornerstone Counseling and Consulting, Inc. agreement.
Ms. Walters?
This is a counseling service that we've worked with for pretty much the entire 10 years that I've been here. Provide services to our students, depending on the insurance. They're referred by mostly our counselors. Sometimes parents will ask for help as well, but they're just one of the agencies that provide services during school. We try to pull them not during core instructional academic time, try to work around that, around specials or something like that, but they approached us last year and wanted a written agreement.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the Cornerstone Counseling and Consulting, Inc. agreement.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 11E, recommendation, consideration, action upon Stop, Go, and Tell program through Bethesda, Inc. to take place at Central Elementary, Charter Oak Elementary, Cotterill Elementary, and Fogarty Elementary for kindergarten through fourth grade students.
This is renewal of an agreement that we've had for several years. Obviously, it took somewhat of a holiday during COVID with regard to a lot of it when we were closed. But as we reviewed the agreement, believe that it's, while we have been in force, want to go ahead and re-ratify this agreement with the board. It's been successful, and it's a program that allows students to feel comfortable explaining if things are not right wherever they may be, whether that be at school or at home or anywhere, and set boundaries for those students and let them understand societal boundaries of what's expected. And I don't know, Ms. Walters, did I miss anything there?
I don't think so. It's just very age appropriate. They go into the classrooms. It's not into like a big assembly or anything. It's interactive. The kids like it, and all of our counselors met and feel like it's a very worthwhile program for our elementary students.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the Stop, Go, and Tell program through Bethesda, Inc. to take place at Central Elementary, Charter Oak Elementary, Cotterill Elementary, Fogarty Elementary for kindergarten through fourth grade students.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 11F is the recommendation and consideration and action to approve a contractual agreement with Marsha Holderman for district test coordinator services from December 1 of 2022 until May 17th of 2023.
As the board is aware, we do not currently have a district test coordinator. The person that we hired for that position resigned early in the school year, and Marsha Holderman has held this position for a number of years and has retired, and we want to bring her back on a contract basis to accomplish the testing in the spring, and she's had enough time of separation that it will not affect adversely her teacher retirement, and so we want to do this and utilize her expertise and experience until we can fill that void potentially next school year.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the contractual agreement with Marsha Holderman for district test coordinator services from December 1st through May 17th of 2023.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other board discussion?
I have one question, Mike. Is this a position that we can go to contractual agreement on a regular basis, or we can look at?
Well, I would say that we could, but remember that the textbook portion of this has already been done. And so I'm not sure, I think there would be more work than what Marsha would want to do on this, or what would be allowed with TRS for the amount of funds that we would have to pay her to work that extra portion. And with that, typically this has been a teacher that has stepped out of the classroom. We want to have someone that has knowledge of the classroom and understanding somewhat of what goes on in the classroom, so it's really not a support personnel role per se, unless we found the right person. So it's more of finding the person that's the fit for that, and obviously this is a large savings for over a salary, but at the expense of, like we talked about in committee meetings, at the expense of Ms. Walters doing extra duty over this fall trying to get the textbooks out, and a bunch of people picking up the slack there too. So that was a long-winded answer to tell you I'm not really sure.
Any other discussion? No more questions? Okay, do we have a motion to approve? So, yep, sorry, yep. The questions came after the motion, sorry. Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 11G, recommendation, consideration, action upon agreement with Follett School Solutions, Inc. for libraries inventory software for 2022 to 2023.
Follett is our vendor for a library card catalog. It's not like some of us remember from pulling the drawers out. This is all automated now. We've used them for many years and just need to renew the subscription. Recommend approval.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the agreement with Follett School Solutions for library inventory software for 2022-23.
Second.
Okay, the motion and the second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 11H, recommendation, consideration, action to modify the 2022 to 2023 school calendar to include a distance learning day for Guthrie High School.
When, Mr. Ogle presented the ACT scores earlier, and one of the things that we've talked about internally is what are we doing to make improvements? What are we doing to get better at our test scores? And he came to me, and I think the counselors and Mr. LeGrand had gone to him, and we've kicked this around for a while, and decided it was time to bring this, and it's almost coincidental that it came at the same board meeting as our ACT scores, but of transitioning to distance learning for one day for our juniors to take the ACT and not have the distractions that are associated with testing going on while you're still trying to have school. And so, Doug, I don't know if you and Chris want to talk about that.
Yeah, I'll speak a little bit on what Mr. LeGrand talked. Right before COVID, we paid an ACT company to come in and train our high school teachers on test strategies for the ACT. I believe we did that in February, and then, of course, March hit, and we were not able to use that. And so we were able to purchase that material to be able to use. And so by doing this, April 6th is a Thursday, and so what we would do is it would just be like a normal test ACT that would be in small rooms instead of a large cafeteria or in the North Gym, taking it as a big group. And so one of the things we were wanting to do was, instead of spreading that over 2 or 3 days, we're able to do it just like an ACT. Other districts have had some success doing this. The 3 days leading up, that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, our staff will be doing that ACT prep with those juniors. The juniors, a lot of our juniors, that's the only time they take the ACT. Some of them don't take it as a senior, and so it is paid by the state. And so when Mr. LeGrand bought this, it was about a week before the ACT last year. He said, "Do you think we can get this done?" I said, "Probably not this year, but let's work on it, get some details, and then let's bring it to the committee meetings this year." And so one thing I'd like to talk a little bit about is just that ways to improve that, and we thought this would just be a good way to do it. Districts that have been doing it similar to our size have had a lot of success. Mr. Green?
Well, I was just going to add that, just like you said, it simulates a national test day where they'll have students in the building, of course, the students taking the test. We can get them there and provide breakfast, have calculators there available for the students. Of course, that's very beneficial in the math part. And then basically it eliminates animosity, because typically it's just 4, 5, 6 teachers giving that. In this case, it's all hands on deck. It'll be much smaller groups. I think it's just more conducive to performing better when you're in small groups with people in that comfort setting, and there's no bells or distractions or kids. And so we just thought it would be one way to really put an emphasis on the significance or the importance of doing your best on the test and providing an environment so that the kids can be successful. So I talked to the principal at Bixby High School, and he said, we did this 3 years ago, and he goes, we'll never go back. He goes, it's the best thing that we've ever done, and it's just been very beneficial to our students and their scores. And so, like Mr. Ogle said, we had kicked it around, but it was just too late last year to make it happen at the last minute. So we want to bring this early so that we can get it on the calendar. And like Mr. Ogle also said, prepare and get those kids ready in some boot camps to do well. And so we want to continue to improve and get better.
How do those boot camp, do they do it in their regular like math class or reading to prepare? I mean,
that's a great question. In fact, like what we talk about for like science, because science is kind of difficult because they basically test in 8th grade and then don't test again until 11th grade, and it's physical and life science. So what we thought about doing is having the groups of kids rotate teachers. So they'll go to either the chemistry or the physical science teachers to get reinforcement and just remediation on those concepts, and then go to life science teachers. And we can just move them one day from physical science to life science or back and forth. And then maybe the same concept with math. What we're thinking is like do geometry one day and then do algebra 1 and then algebra 2, so they can get those concepts from those teachers that specifically teach that subject matter on a daily basis.
Thank you.
And that's high school only, correct?
Correct.
Distance.
Yeah. And by doing this, in November, we have plenty of time to get the word out, and hopefully avoid people showing up that are not supposed to be there on that day, and try to also make sure we have meaningful distance learning for the ones that are not there. And we have done that with when we had the issues with the boilers at the junior high. Remember, that was a building that was shut down for a week when the rest of the district was open too. So, and we're talking one day.
Mr. President, I make a motion we modify the 2022-2023 school calendar to include a distance learning day for Guthrie High School.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 11I, recommendation, consideration, and action to approve change order number 9 for Lambert Construction Company.
For the board members that participated in the property committee, you may remember that we talked about change order 9 and change order 10. I have pulled change order 10. We have developed a scenario that will not require a change order, it appears, at this time. And so tonight I just bring to you change order 9, which is to replace the brick veneer that was there, and this will be done, this is done without any markup from the general contractor, which we appreciate them working with us on this. I think it will be a benefit to the aesthetics of the front of the building. Recommend approval.
Mr. President, I move we approve change order 9 for Lambert Construction Company.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 12, proposed executive session for the purpose of discussing employment of personnel, FMLA request, resignation, separation from employment, and transfer of position request. All is set out on the personnel reports, and discussion of extra duty assignments is listed for 2022 to 2023. Disclosure of which information would violate the confidentiality requirements of state and/or federal law, all pursuant to 25 Oklahoma statutes, section 307B1 and 7.
Mr. President, I move that we move into executive session.
Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Girls, very good day.
Okay. Agenda item 12B, we acknowledge the board's return to open session. Only items in Agenda 12 were discussed in executive session. No votes were taken. This shall constitute the executive session minutes. Agenda item 13, vote on action is set out in the personnel reports.
Mr. President, make a motion that we approve the personnel reports.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Clegg.
Yes.
Silly.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 14, action upon recommendation of extra duty assignments for 2022 to 2023.
Mr. President, make a motion that we approve the extra duty assignments for 2022-2023.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Clegg.
Yes.
Silly.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 15, recommendation, consideration, action to accept any resignations offered since the posting of the agenda.
We have none.
Agenda item 16, discussion of possible action on new business not known about or could not have been reasonably foreseen at the time of the agenda posting.
We have none.
Agenda item 17, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Clegg.
Yes.
Silly.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Yes.